Daniel Leary was the instrument in getting women's walking started in America. In 1875, he was in Peoria, and there was a long forgotten walk between two women, and the winner of this walk was Bertha von Hillern. Bertha von Hillern was an 18-year-old German. She came over to America like 6 months, maybe a year earlier. Her family had gone through financial ruin. Her father had came up from a military family, and they had a big depression over there, and she came over here apparently by herself. She didn't come with her family. She came over, she settled in Chicago like so many did, and she had always been really athletic as a child. She was walking basically in bars and beer gardens, and these men would get drunker and drunker and just bet that she couldn't walk another 5 laps, so she was essentially making a living. She was only like 15 years old, 16 years old at the time. So Daniel Leary also wanted to expand to women. He found Bertha von Hillern, and he said, you can be a professional walker, we've got to find you somebody to walk against. He had to find someone else to take her on. And he sent out a statewide invitation, any woman in the state of Illinois, come and take on Bertha von Hillern in a 6-day walk. Now, 6-day walks were very popular back then. They were very well known to the public, and they went 6 days because it was against the law to walk on Sunday. And so that's why you had the 6-day walks. And Daniel Leary knew that this was a popular format with the public, and he figured he could get an audience as long as his name was attached to it. And he sent out this statewide invitation, and I don't know if this was the only person who responded. I don't know if he picked her, but her name was Tryphena Curtis.
Her husband was abusive, but evidently she had to go out and earn money for the family. So, and I guess I'm sure the glory eventually.
Yeah.
You know,
and so somebody just suggested that she did do this and thought she could make some money at it?
Well, von Hillern challenged any lady, and she thought, well, okay, I'll just do it.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's what happened. And this lady challenged anybody in Illinois, if you can walk 400 miles.
Oh, see, I didn't realize that was her first race, because you segued that going into the grant thing, but this was first.
Yeah, and so,
well, she saw that, she said, I could do that.
So the only one who responded was Mae Marshall. It was Tryphena Curtis. Her name was Tryphena Curtis. She was in her early 30s, and she, like Daniel Leary, had sold Bibles door to door. No future, nothing. And so she responded to it, and she changed her name to Mae Marshall. Don't know why. I'm guessing that professional walkers, there were a lot of women walkers around, but they didn't have really good reputations. So I don't know if she liked the lyrical quality of Mae Marshall versus Tryphena Curtis, or if it was Daniel Leary's idea, or if it was with Marshall Fields, because they were all based in Chicago. So I don't know why she changed her name, but she changed her name.
But was forced to make her own living as her husband was a drinker and abused her. So you know how she conquered the world in her line of being world champion, a pedestrian, and I always admired her spirit and success.
At some point in this, there are so many holes because there's been so little research done on this, but you have to believe that Daniel O'Leary pretty much trained both women. You have to think that he treated them both pretty much the same because he was taking a huge gamble. Actually trying to expand to create another whole arm of this, you're almost creating a new sport because no one knew if women could do this. The conventional thinking was that they couldn't. Who thought women could walk 6 days? No one thought, if you could train them the same way, if you treated them the same way, if people would just be so turned off by seeing these women walk in public, no one knew. But with Daniel Leary's name behind it, in Chicago, he being the biggest name in Chicago, then they had a pretty good chance for success as long as you actually had a race. Because if one of them faltered early, or if they both faltered halfway through, then the sport's dead before it gets started. So I'm not sure, but he had to be moving all of those chess pieces for everybody. I'm guessing, total guess, that he put up the fee too, because there was the fee was $500 each, and I cannot believe that an 18-year-old German immigrant who had virtually nothing and somebody who'd been selling Bibles door to door, I can't believe they had that kind of money. Daniel O'Leary obviously did. And so they found a place in Chicago called the 2nd Regiment Armory. And the 2nd Regiment Armory has a noted history in Chicago. In 1915, it served as a morgue when a ship turned over in the Chicago River. Ship turned over, it was used as a morgue, that was in 1915. Supposedly, the place is haunted. And today, the 2nd Regiment Armory is the home of Oprah Winfrey Studios. Okay, so they met in what is now Oprah Winfrey Studios for this first 6-day race, January the 30th, 1876.